Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed. Welcome to Absolute Sim Racing and welcome to the final round of Season 2 of the Race Anywhere World Series, the US split. And we are in for an incredible evening's racing to round out our championship. 3 champions will be crowned tonight, and I'm delighted to not be alone in the commentary box. Chaz Draycott here with you, but joining me for the finale, all of the fireworks and fighter jets and all sorts that we're going to see tonight at Le Mans, is Ed May. Ed, it's great to have you here with me, buddy. Well, what do you think we can expect from GT cars around Le Mans tonight? It's certainly a formula we've all seen before.
Yeah, we certainly have. And like you mentioned, Le Mans, the Circuit de la Sarthe, what a venue for motor racing. We've seen some great events here in the past. I'm certain we're going to see yet another treat on the cards here, with plenty at stake across all 3 championships here up for grabs. It's been a big journey to get here, haven't they, Chaz? After the first race here this season at, I believe it was Silverstone, when we shared the comms box.
Yeah.
Drivers, they've come a long way, and certain drivers, I mean, they've had to recover from heartbreak at the start. Let's not forget Dave Menino. I mean, he finds himself at the moment on top of the pro class, but he had an absolutely torrid time in Silverstone.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that horrible disconnect, it could have certainly shaped up the championship, but it hasn't at this point. Something we're going to have to compete with tonight, I think, other than music being very loud right now, is the fact that these Le Mans cameras seem to be absolutely silent. Let's just listen to this Ferrari going through here. I'm not sure if I've got different cameras to you, actually, Ed, but that Ferrari makes little to no noise through here. But when we go on board, all of the noise suddenly comes back out to play. So what I'm going to do, if you will all just forgive me for a second, is I'm just going to load in the default camera pack for this circuit, because I was lucky enough to work on an iRacing Porsche Esports Super Cup broadcast for this circuit, and I think what's happened is that my camera pack is based on that. And yeah, suddenly we have noise again, which is nice to see. So we will have at least some car sounds without deafening you all when we go on board. We're looking at Jonathan Ouellette right now. Jonathan is currently 3rd in the championship, but tied with Daniel Tenorio for 2nd place. They're both on 760 points, but Dave Menino is back to try and wrap up the title. 785 points, 25 clear, with 5 points difference between every position here, Ed. It's looking like Menino's got this wrapped up. He just needs to finish within 5 spots of the other guys, and we've only got 4 pros with us tonight.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what the requirement is to actually finish the race and score points. I know a lot of series have, requirements of completing about 2/3 of the laps of the leaders, so you never know what can happen. How many times have we seen races that we thought were dead set here in Le Mans that suddenly everything can change?
It can indeed. One thing to note here as well at this circuit is you'll see drivers, when they go down these straights, they may sit right in the middle of the road. Like, look at Jonathan Ouellette there. Oh, well, he was doing it for a second. They sit right in the middle of the road because there's a bit of a what they call a crown in the road, where there's a higher part in the middle. It sort of arcs over. The highest point of the road is the middle bit where the white line is. And a lot of the time that is closer to the bottom of the car, which gives it a little bit more ground effect, essentially. It sucks the car to the floor as it compresses the air underneath it, and it does actually help the top speed. Now, looking at the rest of the championship, Dean Timms is the guy to beat in the Pro-Ams, but at the moment we don't see Dean. Oh no, he is here actually. He is here on track tonight, but unfortunately he's just sat in the pits at the moment, so we can't really do much about having a look at him. Logan Vida, I must add, has been disqualified from the last 2 rounds of this championship. So, not quite sure how Logan's managed that, but he's not here either to try and redeem himself. But in the Pro-Ams, Dean Timms is currently top of the championship, and he is 50 points clear of Andrew Rasmussen in his Audi. And Eric Kulaga, this man here, is tied with him as well. So 2nd and 3rd, not just tied in the Pros, but tied in the Pro-Ams as well. When it comes to the AMs, It's this man, Justin Delano, that's the one to beat. 795 points for Justin. He's 30 clear of Stephen Martinez, who is currently the fastest in their class. However, 30 points, 6 positions worth. To be honest, Ed, if these guys want to wrap up the titles tonight, it looks like all they've got to do is finish.
Yeah, but sometimes that can be easier said than done. We've just seen Dave Menino trying to get to grips with this Le Mans circuit. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen there, 6.5 seconds off the pace of Harry Wills. And that's going to be difficult for Menino to try and overcome, especially considering he is starting at the back. Of course, he can quite happily coast around being 6 seconds a lap slower than everybody else and come through to win the championship, but that's not what Dave will want. He'll want to come out here and round out the season the way a champion should, by taking the race victory.
Definitely.
He's a wily old character though, is Dave. We'll know he's got it in him as long as he's able to use that slipstream down the Mulsanne Straight, down the Gulf Straight as well in towards Indianapolis. That's sure to see him right to be in the mix up until the end of the race. And it's a good point you mentioned, actually, Chaz, about the way there's a sort of crown down the Mulsanne Straight. Less so on this not quite straight, the Gulf Straight. But I think it's because it's a public road, isn't it, Chaz? So it uses that crown to sort of drain away any rainwater and allows sort of traffic to flow through a road rather than a river. Yeah,
you get that effect where the road is weighed down at either side. It's like when you get the trucks, isn't it? You know, when you get the sort of the tyre marks in the road, essentially, on a motorway in the slow lane where the trucks all go. And when you drive through them, it's an absolute nightmare because it pulls the car one way then the other. It's a real pain. But
I'll pretend I know what I'm saying. I don't have a driver's license, but I'll take your word for it.
Roger that. Well, I've just had confirmation as well. Thank you to Littleton, Jeremy Littleton in the chat, who has confirmed that Logan Vider's been driving the wrong car. That's why he's been disqualified. I pretty much remember him being in an Audi, thinking, why is he driving that? Coming back to Dave Menino, he wasn't actually at Monza last time out. He wasn't here. So, well, that's not going to do any good. He just loses the back end there through the Porsche curves and bop into the wall he goes. But yeah, in terms of finishing the race, like you say, not easy to do at all. Jeremy Littleton, by the way, I was just checking his times. He's 1,000th of a second off Eric Kulaga. Michael Kulaga. Can you believe that around a lap as long as Le Mans? That's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
That is nuts.
That is bonkers.
That is absolutely mental from Littleton to be that far off Kulaga. Means we've got a great battle, if nothing else, for the Pro-Am class victory. And then don't forget, Eric Kulaga, Michael's brother, I believe, at least, less than a 10th off. And then you've got, who's this? Gary Brown.
Yeah.
4th place, 10th off.
That's incredible, that. A quarter of a second separating the top 5 in a class around here is just absolute madness.
Shame we don't have qualifying to try and shake up the order. It is, of course, based off of the class position. Obviously reversed. So in this situation, Dave Menino, while he leads the pro class, he will be starting down in 4th position.
Yeah, he will
lovely
indeed.
Camera angle there, isn't it?
That is a good one. That cements the fact that we've got the same cameras now, which is good.
I don't know what you've done, Chaz, but I'm loving it. It's wonderful. But I think we had this discussion a week ago, wasn't it, for the F3s, trying to figure out if we got the right cams or not. And I don't know what wizardry you've been able to do in the background, Chaz, but I'm loving it. You'll have to let me know after the broadcast.
I think these are the default ones, to be fair. I've loaded the default ones anyway, so we must just... I think iRacing have just done that. But either way, yeah, there is some wizardry you can do with camera angles and so on. But some circuits on iRacing have phenomenal cameras. They're really, really good. Others, like we were discussing it actually because of Sebring. We were commentating at Sebring last week on Thursday. We're commentating together again, well, effectively tomorrow night, but tonight. And Sebring, the cameras are just too far away. They're too loud. They've got a weird zoom effect where they're so far away from everything. But other circuits in time, iRacing have really nailed it with the cameras. They've got the cameras placed where people would be stood with cameras. You know, they look realistic in terms of their positioning. But on other circuits, you know, they're just in weird places and it doesn't make sense. But still, we're lucky with what we've got here at Le Mans. And here are the two SRT Esport Lamborghinis together. James Hebb has been having a pretty good season, to be fair. He won in class on his debut at the second round at Watkins Glen. He's missed 3 rounds this season, though. He's not had a win since. And based on his pace so far, he might not be heading towards one tonight. But we'll have to see. James has surprised us before. And the Lamborghini has really been a car to beat this season, it has to be said. Well, the majority of the field, as you can see on the left, is Ferraris. The Lamborghinis have been pretty supreme.
Yeah, I'd imagine the Lamborghinis might struggle a little bit here at Le Mans. Top end is not that car's strong suit, whereas the Ferraris, they are absolutely rapid in the straight line at this moment in time.
Yeah.
They're really good at accelerating. And then you've got the Audi, which has actually become a bit more of an all-rounder as of late, which is, I think, a little bit different to how it has been in the past. And you've got the BMW, which I love. Bless its heart, it's not very good at many things at the moment, but what it is good at is being nice and stable and predictable. So I'm hoping that Travis Kepler and Errol Eriksoy will do the Beamer proud today. And then, of course, the two Mercs actually down at the back of the field at the moment. Jason Bridges and Kai Deziel not really able to set any representative lap times at the moment. Just look at that, though. The pair of them together, wonderful shots, that of SRT Sport.
Yeah, you've got to love the Lamborghinis. Great looking car, great sounding car as well. But, yeah, you mentioned the Mercedes. It's a shame to see them down there, but I think, to be honest, Jason Bridges hasn't done a lap time, and Kai Dalziel hasn't done one that's been valid anyway. So we'll have to wait and see what their race pace is like. But it's an hour and 15 minutes around here, which will only be about 7 laps, I reckon. Maybe about... Actually, no. Oh, hey up. James Hebb's off. 7 laps is a very, very bad calculation, to be honest. I think about an hour around here is 7 laps. Or is it? No, 7 times...
double that.
7 times 4, Chaz.
At
Jesus
least.
Christ. Oh, God. Yeah, it's going to be about 15 to 16 laps, I'd reckon.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit closer to the ballpark I was thinking of. But we will find out, won't we, Chaz? In about a minute's time, the cars will be getting on the grid. Gary Brown, he'll be starting. Let's have a... I really should have this easily to hand. Well, Gary Brown be starting in the Pro-Am class. I mean, he's currently 5th in the championship, so based on everywhere else, he'll probably be starting probably around about 5th on the grid.
So if I'm going to do the maths now. So it's 75 minutes of racing that we're going to be going through. So we want to divide that into 60s because they're minutes. And then we're going to times that by 240 because that... No.
Late night maths with Chaz, everyone.
Yay! For God's sake. Right. There's a race going to happen in a minute anyway, I can tell you that.
Oh, we're not good with numbers, but what we are good at, everybody, I hope you'll trust us on this, is talking about cars going fast around a track in the French countryside.
Yes. That place there that's written on that tarmac. Right then. We're going to get the Partuis de France fly over in just a moment in their wonderful Alpha Jet aircraft and their smoke that looks like it's made of flour. But before that, Harry Wills is going to take to the front of the grid alongside Jonathan Ouellette. Then we're going to have Daniel Tenorio and Dave Meneno, who are also fighting for the championship. Braden Carroll will start alongside Kai Dalziel at the front of the Pro-Ams ahead of Brent Bravata and Jeff Carollo. Errol Uriksoy will start alongside Michael Kulaga with Gary Brown and Jeremy Littleton on row 6. Then we have Eric Kulaga trying to stop Dean Timms from taking the title. And then in the AMS, it's Travis Kepler and Jason Bridges on their front row. James Hebb is 17th ahead of Matthew Plaisance. Then it's John Casey in the 046 car with Daniel Florea on row 10. Michael Fowler is next up with Stephen Martinez 22nd. Justin Delano looking to take the AM title tonight. Starts at the back of the grid. So then, Ed, with only this race to go, and this one being the last day of school, what do you reckon we're going to see from these pros, first of all?
Well, you'd imagine that Ouellette Ouellette would be wanting to round out the season with a win. So will Meneno, but Meneno struggled a lot in practice. We saw he wasn't really able to get a representative lap together, 6 seconds off the pace. I reckon Harry Wills could be in with a good shot, but it's all about the Audi. How will it match up to the straight line grunt of those two Ferraris in behind, Ouellette and Tenorio? They are going to be right on him at the start of this race, coming down the Mulsanne for the first time. But Harry Wills, he can set the pace as we have a decent run all the way through Porsche curves. It's a long old time for these cars to try and get some heat into the tyres, but you can see none of them really opting for it. Coasting around in second gear, all of this is doing is using the fuel. Means that their calculations, if they were doing any before the race, will be thrown off slightly due to this time behind the pace car. It isn't long until we get this season finale underway.
I've been confirmed as well. About 21 laps. So Stepchild BHB in the chat. Thank you very much. And as mentioned, I apologise for my horrendous maths. We can hear the Partout de France, roughly, but I can't see them yet, which is a shame. Massive aviation nerd sat right here, so I'm hoping to see some planes fly over. But there is a camera for it. They've got the sounds right. I must admit, iRacing have nailed the sounds. You may see the smoke. Yeah, you can see the smoke for just a moment there. And they should fly over just as we get underway. But still, it's this small field of 4 pros that will lead us. And it is series admin Harry Wills that will get the honour of leading them away for the final time this season. Through the 4 chicanes he goes. The pit lane siren sounds as the pace car comes in. And the last round of the Race Anywhere World Series US in Season 2 is underway. Harry Wills roars away in the 5.2 litre V10. And straight away, Tenorio is wasting no time in trying to get past Jonathan Ouellette for second place. Dave Meneno is going to sit back and watch the fireworks and the air display in 4th, and he's going to be happy to sit there. We'll come back to those guys in a minute, because the biggest field of the lot, the Pro-Ams, are about to get going with Braden Carroll in the Eclipse Racing Lamborghini, leading his teammate in the Eclipse Racing Mercedes. Well, that's not teamwork. Managed to get away nice and safely. Looks like everybody just shuffling through. Nice and tidy. And then Travis Kepler is going to be the man to lead away the AMs in the number 27 BMW from Jason Bridges, Matthew Plaisance and James Hebb. They all stay 2x2 for a bit. Filter into single file. And lovely. Lovely stuff. And it was Mr. Rasmussen in the chat. So we do not have Rasmussen trying to take the title away from Justin Delano tonight, unfortunately. Sorry, not Justin. Harry Wills. Not Harry Wills. No. No. Names, Chaz. Names. Dean Timms. That's the guy. Anyway, this is Harry Wills. And he's had a good start, actually, here, Ed. He's not been sort of held up by defending from anybody, but he's not also been caught up by the slipstream of anyone else yet.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a good start by Jonathan Ouellette. Keep Tenorio at bay. We know how tenacious Tenorio can be, as we see Braden Carroll now in behind. The might of the Mercedes powering down the Mulsanne seems to be enough to get Kyle Azil up into first place for the moment. We were saying that the Lamborghini might struggle in terms of the straight line grunt. Are we seeing that here? Again, this time with Jason Bridges in the Mercedes. In fact, actually, yeah, look at that. James Hebb swarmed by Ferraris into the first Mulsanne chicane, and could he get done on the exit? Really struggling here to get the car down a straight line. Look, you can just see losing track to the Ferraris up ahead, though in behind, it seems for the moment, Hebb has the beating of Fowler coming into the second Mulsanne chicane. Plenty of action, though, in these opening few minutes here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Look at that up in front. Seemed like there was a move going on. Yeah. In fact, there's all sorts of action going on there. It's difficult to pick which battle to focus on. Daniel Florea, I think, just getting the move done on Martinez, and actually now looking at Bridges going down into what will be a Mulsanne
Oh.
corner. So tricky. Oh my word, even trickier if you try and make it 3 wide. I think the Mercedes is going to have to back out. Very smart awareness, but Martinez with a massive toe right the way into the braking zone. Side by side, the 2 Ferraris go. Who's going to come out the better? Will Martinez hold the tight line and get the power down? No, struggles a little bit, and then that brings Florea back into the mix, going to get a good run out all the way down the Gulf straight, and should be able, I was going to say should be able to sweep on through, but no, they keep it going side by side. This is going to go all the way down into Indianapolis.
Yeah, fantastic racing from the AMS already, and Martinez does need to get a move on. He needs to crack on with this straight away, because Justin Delano could take quite an easy championship victory if Martinez is not on the ball from the start. He needs to gain these positions, and that was very commanding around the outside of Daniel Florea. Lovely, lovely stuff. Back near the front, it's still Harry Wills leading. Jonathan Ouellette and Daniel Tenorio are fighting. These two both want second in the championship. They both want first in the championship. But as long as Dave Meneno completes about 50% of this race, I think it is, he will have the title. Carollo's gone off. That's not going to be a tidy rejoin, is it? Yep, I can hear contact. He's in the wall. He is off and in the barrier. Gets going again. But it's always scary through the Porsche curves, isn't it, Ed? And, well, it's scary into the Ford chicane when you're battling with your teammate as well.
Oh my word, is it going to be 3? Please don't go 3 wide into the Ford chicane, gents. That's a little bit silly. Kai does the smart thing, wants the lead of the race, but realizes that holding on to the lead isn't everything when you've got, you know, scary action side by side 3 wide. Replay here of James Hebb. Oh, big moment there, coming just towards the karting S's. And what happened there? Was there a touch, or was it just the rear end braking traction? Difficult to see. Oh no, it just breaks in. Too much speed in.
Yeah.
Rear over rotates.
It's easy to do in the Lamborghini. It's easy to do in any mid-engine car, to be honest with you. But yeah, he's unfortunately just overdone it there. He's brought it back into the pits, but whoa, hello! What? That's not going back into the pits. That's Kai Dalziel, one of the fastest drivers in the Pro-Am category, and he has had a massive, massive hit into the barriers there.
Having flashbacks to some of my own races here, Chaz, that corner is so tricky because you're pushing the limits coming out of the Tetra Rouge S's. You're just going to see it here. He's pushing a little bit. Does he get a bump? A little slight bump that sends him wide.
It's the grass.
Just a couple of centimetres, if that, wide onto the grass. Rear tyre spins, loses traction, spits him into the wall. If he, you know, if he made a bigger mistake, should you say, and went a couple more inches wider, it'd be just slower, but not speared off into the wall.
Definitely would be. Now this is Dean Timms trying to win the Pro-Am title. Whoa, he's got Jeremy Littleton and Gary Brown very close together in there with him as well. We've got a car off the road. It's Kai Dalziel. I think he's popped it back to the pits. Kai has decided that enough is enough. But fantastic battling already, and the slipstream, of course, keeping these guys nice and close together. We've got cars all over the place sticking with one another. Matthew Plaisance leads in the AMS at the moment from Steve Martinez, then Travis Kepler. And it's Justin Delano that's trying to win the title tonight. And he is close enough to Martinez to still take that championship. So he doesn't need to worry right now. Someone that might need to worry is Harry Wills, because all over the back of him is Jonathan Ouellette, a man that is on a mission. He wants to get up the order and get away from Meneno and Tenorio as quickly as he can. Right now, he's going to gain 10 points over Daniel Tenorio and take second in the championship. But he's not going to be the man in the background in the Lamborghini who really doesn't seem to have the pace tonight, does he? But like you said, in a straight line, the Lambo just isn't the car to be in. So maybe Dave's just thinking, right, well, as long as I finish, I'm champion, so stuff it.
Yeah, definitely. What I would like to see, though, is this battle here, Chaz. You're absolutely on it. Brent Ravata, don't get it twisted. He's looking for this race victory for Twisted Racing. Number 11, I hear a little chuckle from you, Chaz, as we make our way down towards Arnage, the slowest part of the circuit.
Terrible
All the
corner.
way down. Oh, it's so tricky, but if you can get it hooked up, it is actually decently satisfying if you push the limits. Someone's pushed it far too far, and maybe he had a push. Dean Timms, that is
championship leader.
championship leader. There's a huge chunk taken out of the rear end.
Oh my!
Oh, and he was pushed.
What? He was headbutted.
That was, and just look at it now, Chaz, as we see it. Hopefully we can see the
my
rear end shot, because there is a
life.
massive chunk taken out of the rear end of that Ferrari. We're going to see it here. Just gets it back up and running.
Good lord.
And that is a sorry sight.
Yeah.
And is that suspension damage? It seems to be fine for the moment. Doesn't appear to be crabbing, but whoa, Gary Brown just
Well,
can't get it stopped.
no, it didn't even look like he tried. Just absolutely pile drived him into the back there. Unbelievable contact, that. I mean, it shows how sturdy that Ferrari is, but that's important for the championship, that, for Dean Timms, because right now, Dean is, well, he's 50 points clear of Andrew Rasmussen, but he's also 50 points clear of Eric Kulaga. Eric is only 2 points ahead of him at the moment. And to be fair, he'd need to be he'd need to be 10 points behind, 10 positions behind. And there's only 9 cars running, actually. So, yeah, at the moment, Dean Timms could still win the championship, but he still at least needs to score. But we'll see. Harry Wills is still fighting with Jonathan Ouellette right at the front. Tenorio is just sort of happy sitting behind these guys right now. But Meneno, since we last looked at him coming into Arnage, has lost another 3 seconds. This Lambo really not the car to have, is it?
No, it really is. I want to see where Dave's struggling. I don't know where it could be. I think
Tell
he's
you what.
probably actually...
Let's look at the speeds. So this is without slipstream. Harry Wills is reading at what? 277 before he hits the brakes. You know what? Well, if there was
280.
if there was ever any doubt, Dave Meneno, even with the poor run that he had out of the last chicane, he's going faster in a straight line.
Yeah, I mean...
You can't. There's no excuses
I
for that.
can't argue with that. Yeah, I thought that was going to struggle in a straight line, but I've just been... There is egg all over my face after that. Wow, Dave Meneno. Maybe it was just because Harry Wills had a bad exit coming out of the previous chicane. Maybe that was what it was.
Well,
I can't be wrong, Chaz. I'm in denial.
There's another race to check. Let's do it again. 10 minutes already gone of this race, which beggars belief.
I'm crossing my fingers for Harry Wills to be faster now than Meneno. Otherwise, I'll look like a right-prized idiot.
Nah, it's not. It's not you, mate. No, and normally, you know, the Lambo just isn't the car to have in a straight line. 277 as he turns in. That's ridiculous in
Neither, in my
itself.
defence, is the Audi. They're basically the same car. It's the Ferraris you want to try and examine, but of course they're getting a huge helping of slipstream.
He broke before, but that was the thing.
I think
he broke.
He's struggling. Yeah, he's braking for all the corners, Chaz, that you really shouldn't necessarily be needing to brake for. I think you'll be telling the main difference is through the Porsche curves. That's going to be where the difference is probably being made and lost.
Very similar with the Ferrari as well, 277 on the way in there. So it does show that maybe it's not quite... What have we got? Between 220, 230 between these boys through there. Dave Meneno. Yeah, he was about 200, wasn't he? It flicked in at about 200. It did show up for just a second there. We've got battles going on here in the Pro-Ams as well. Sorry, this is in the AMs.
Oh, as Wills has dropped back 2 places now. Tenorio and Ouellette have swept on by. Is that potentially on account of a slowdown penalty? It's very easy to do coming out of Corvette. Slows it right down. Right down.
And Ouellette as well, I think, got one. Because Ouellette slowed down behind him, didn't he? So I think he had one. Gary Brown's off. Oh, Gary Brown is more than off. That's exactly where we saw James Hebb in the wall, isn't it?
Well, if there's one driver that won't be too sad to see that, it's the driver just passing in, Dean Timms.
Yeah.
Got a huge helping up the rear end coming into Arnage. So maybe he'll be feeling that karma has dealt a swift backhand to Gary Brown as oof.
Jesus, that's more than a backhand. that's a cricket bat to the face, that. That's absolutely massive impact. Now, this is the lead for Pro
Whoa.
Am. Well, it was.
Was.
Flipping heck. Michael Kilaga off in the sand. Decides that he doesn't want to go and build a sandcastle. He wants to carry on racing. Gets back on with it. There is Eric Kilaga going past him, but that's how easy it is to do, though, isn't it? I mean, that chicane, you can sort of come up over a crest. It levels out. Oh, he took a lot of the curb, though, didn't he?
Yeah, I find it's easier to take those curbs in, say, a GTE car than it is a GT3. It's, especially with the recent changes on the cars, they've been made a little bit stiffer, a little bit harder to manage at certain points, especially through slower speed corners. There's a tendency to try and over-rotate across the board for these GT3 cars. So we saw that, I think unfortunately there for Kilaga. Here we go, though. A bit of bump drafting almost, actually, between Littleton and Carroll on the way towards the first Mulsanne chicane. Jeremy Littleton getting a helping, a little nudge, shall we say. Go on, let's catch up to second place, see if we can maybe even challenge for first. But for the moment, Ulrich Soy in that BMW was doing a very good job of just keeping a good tight grip on the Pro-Am P1 position. As we see, actually, a changed position in the Pro class. Wills back now up into second place, ahead, importantly, of Jonathan Ouellette, because for the championship at the moment, well, that's key. Ouellette down in third, not going to be able to secure P2 like that.
No, definitely not. No matter what Dave Menino does, as long as he finishes, he is champion pretty much. Daniel Tenorio wants to make sure that he gets second and gets it by a good few points as well. But Harry Wills, the spoiler in the pack at the moment, fighting with all of them. And, you know, it's not really... Harry's not obliged to get out of the way. He wants to have a good scrap with these boys. He doesn't want to just sort of let it lie and just roll over for Jonathan to go on through. So he's having a good fight with them. And Jeff Carollo has had an issue somewhere here. Ah, that smells like slowdown to me.
Smells like a classic Tetra Rouge slowdown, that.
And Plaisant's even slowing down a bit as well there, actually, so maybe he had to serve one. But we have multiple battles going on. This second place battle in Pro-Am is great. Brent Bravata just ahead of Jeremy Littleton and Braden Carroll, who we were looking at earlier. Littleton goes very wide through the run into Indy. And all of a sudden, Braden Carroll can catch back up. It's this braking zone, though, isn't it? The braking zone for Arnage is so bumpy, and then the corner sort of goes over this weird crest. It just feels incredibly understeery. It's just got so many horrible characteristics that all add up with each other and make it feel... I don't know, they just make it feel like a nasty corner, don't they?
It's difficult for us to see from the outboard shot, but when you go on board with the car, you can really see how difficult it is. You'll see it here. Where can you pick your braking point? There isn't really any reference markers either. I always struggle with trying to wait for that corner because it feels like I pick a different point every single time. Sometimes I get it right. I'm like, all right, I'll do that next time. Then I'm like, what was I doing? Where was I braking? What was I using? I have no idea. And by the time I've had all of that mess going on in my brain, I've missed the corner and I'm in the gravel trap. And don't forget as well, coming out of Arnage, that tyre barrier, it likes to stick out. It likes to just sort of snag the left rear of your car, and that can cause huge damage from quite an innocuous soft tyre barrier. It was, whoa, Michael Fowler nearly catching the rear of Kepler, who seemed to be out of shape coming out of karting S's. Now through Maison Blanche. These two are properly scrapping for it, aren't they, Chaz? This is for P4 in the AM class as Wills now gets up into the front of the Pro class. So that Audi, it does seem to be going very well here. And I think a lot of it is through the Porsche curves. That section, that final sort of third of the lap really does favour the Audi for some reason.
Yeah, it looks good. You've got a feel right now, though, for Gary Brown. He's all on his own here on the track map. He's the yellow dot, miles away from everyone. But if you look at it, though, between our pros, which are the white dots that you see on the top part of the map, look at the difference from them to Dave Menino, which is the white dot with the number 4. He is absolutely miles behind them right now. 16.1 seconds is the gap to the cars ahead. That is not exactly what he wanted, is it really?
He is, of course, doing what he needs to do to secure the championship. But yeah, Damon Hill either is being very cautious or is just not at home here at Le Mans. I'm not sure which one it is. We might need to try and shed some light on that when we interview this season's champion for the Race Anywhere World Series League's GT3 Championship. As we see, an enticing scrap for P2. Brent Bravata just coming across the nose of Littleton. But those two, they've worked it out. They've been able to help each other out, Littleton and Carroll. Now right up behind Brent Bravata for P2. What were we saying just a couple laps ago? They were working together, and now they're going to try and reap the fruits of their companionship together, but only one person can take P2. It will all of a sudden become less than rosy, I think, for this battle.
Certainly will. Look at the closing speed that you saw there from Jeremy Littleton's Ferrari. He gained so much in the slipstream, it was ridiculous. So right now the gap is 0.5 of a second. Keep updating you as this goes down. 0.45. Now it's 0.4. Now it's 0.35. Now it's 0.3. 2.5. 2. 1.5. 1. Look at this. How suddenly that comes about when you get within about 4 tenths. And then it all goes away because he brakes on the inside of Indy. Incredible.
They're all thrown offline though, aren't they, by all their scrapping, Chaz? Down in towards Arnage. Thought about getting the run out of the corner to try and put yourself the best possible chance to make a move down the inside into Porsche curve. I think, for my money, Littleton got the better of the runs, but isn't close enough to properly go for a charge. I want to see, though, if we can go on board with Littleton, just to find out how difficult it is to follow a car this closely. Coming into the Porsche cars. Thank you very much, Chaz. Sixth gear down into fifth. Are they going to take fourth? Yep. And then you just see the washing.
Yeah.
Sweeping out. And then you've got to be careful through here because you can't wash out. There's a big, hard Armco barrier there. Oh, and then look at how off course it seems the Ferrari up in front is a Littleton, but Bravata rather, but Littleton isn't able to capitalise, doesn't quite carry the momentum through karting. Then out of Corvette, the gap has actually been increased because of that aerodynamic effect. The dirty air does play havoc on these GT3 cars.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? I mean, it looked like Brent was very late on one of the apexes. John Casey. John Casey's had a problem. He's crashed on the way into the Porsche curves, and Jeff Carollo also in a Porsche. Funnily enough, the Porsche's coming undone here at the Porsche curves. Let's have a look at what happened to Jeff. This is later on in that section. Oh, the back end breaks away. Bang. That's going to ruin the right-hand side of the car. Whoa. God, that was close. Jason Bridges is also coming to the pits. What has happened to John Casey? Because John Casey went off, didn't he, just before this. So he's on his way in, and he tries to wash the speed off, and that's a massive hit into the barrier. Brent Bravata has just had another accident as well, by the way. John Casey had another issue after this, I believe. So he gets going. And is it broken, and is it going to crash again? I think that might have been it, to be fair. Let's have a look at what happened to Brent Bravata, because he has suddenly ended up in the pits. Is he going to lose it? Is he going to do the Touch Rouge thing that we saw before, do you reckon? Is he going to just run a wide out of here and clip the grass? No. Littleton gets overtaken by Braden Whoa! No. Heck. That's the word for that. That is the word for that. And Brent Bravata has dragged it back to the pits.
Hugely disappointing because as we moved away from them to start with, the two of them, Brent Bravata and Jeremy Littleton, were involved in a great scrap into turn one. I saw those positions chopping and changing. Then all of a sudden, I was worried, to be fair, because they were battling so closely. Then to see Brent Bravata plummet down the order, I was worried that something wrong went on between the pair of them. But no, it was just through Tetra Rouge, rear end, just suddenly losing all grip, sliding right the way around, and unfortunately sending him spearing straight into the Armco barrier. Thankfully, we don't need to worry about cleanup, because otherwise that would have been a shunt that would have probably brought a hefty pause proceedings in real life.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with that section of the circuit as well, spewing debris and bits of barrier all over the circuit there. Would not have been pretty, would it?
No, definitely not. Thankful this is the virtual world, even though the racing is very much real and present and going on every moment we watch. Harry Wills come through the Porsche cabs again. That Audi just looks so nailed down going through this section. Look at just the responsiveness as well on turn in. It just seems to do exactly what Harry Wills wants at the moment. Look at that, beautifully running the car through Corvette and Maison Blanche. It's really good as well through this even slow speed section coming up now, actually. Well, we're not going to see it because they come into the pits for their first of 2 pit stops of this race.
Yeah, that feels really early, but when you consider how long a lap is here, we're not going to see much variation in terms of their pit stop strategies. You know, we're not going to see 2 or 3 laps difference from everybody. Dave Menino also on his way into this very tricky pit entrance. We'll go on board with Errol Yuriksoy so you can get an idea of what this pit entry looks like from a driver's eye view. You pull over to the right hand side, still carrying a lot of speed down through the gears. First chicane, there's no curbs on that initial part, so you can lose it on the grass. And then boom, slow it down. The massively loud siren sounds, and into the pits you go. Everybody pitting. Harry Wills brings up the revs, gets going. Tenorio is out ahead of Jonathan Ouellette, and look at that, Dave Menino must be very annoyed by that, because by the time he stops, the other guys have all left. But that just shows you the gap. It was a good 16 to 19 seconds before we last checked it. Now, that was a lot of curve for Harry Wills, but he's looking good here at the moment. I mean, Phantom02's just said in the chat, I'm waiting for the commentator's curse to kick in for Harry now, and you're very right, sir. It probably will before too long, but Harry's been having... I mean, he's been enjoying himself out there in the car. You know, he's been loving it. He's certainly been a very entertaining driver to have because he's been fighting with everybody that comes near him. It's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Mid-Ohio. It was a wonderful performance from Harry, really up there in the mix. Plenty of drivers were trying to get their elbows out as big as they could manage. I mean, Jonathan Ouellette as well. He was a big contender for that fight. Let's not count out him from this fight. The Canadian can still gain second place in the championship if he's able to beat Daniel Tenorio. Those are the stakes. That is priority numero uno for Jonathan Ouellette. They have been slightly separated thanks to the pit stops, but they're all within a second or a second and a half. They will be getting a nice helping of slipstream of draft again. And look at that. They're using the technique that we were talking about just at the start of the broadcast, right the way down the centre line of the Mulsanne Straight to get those few extra kilometres an hour, because they can add up as brutal cone murder occurs right before our very eyes.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. It annoys me when they all take out the cones, but I must admit, the virtual marshals that we have here on iRacing are phenomenal, because they managed to get those cones back in place and we never see a single marshal on the track. So very well done to them.
Truly wonderful. The Orange Army and iRacing, even though I think iRacing puts them in blue for some silly reason.
America.
That's we say that on an American broadcast.
Yeah,
apologies everyone.
That's to the marshals, not to the American bit.
We love everyone here.
Yeah, we do. We do. This was a little battle between Michael Fowler and Matthew Plaisance, but it's interesting because when you follow a car for so long down a straight like this and then all of a sudden it slams on the brakes in front of you and you've got to go through a chicane, it's really sort of under how would you say it? It's very underestimated by a lot of drivers how much it can throw you off. Like having to sort of develop from nailing it down a straight to suddenly making it into a corner and not smacking into the back of the car in front of you.
Yeah, because you are, of course, like you mentioned, Chaz, you're carrying extra speed into those braking zones with cars up in front of you. I was acutely aware of that in the Formula Mazda just earlier today on your Formula One series, Chaz. It's so difficult to look after the car, and as well, don't forget, you don't have the extra downforce to help slow you down. You don't have that extra air you use to slow the car down. So there's a whole manner of factors that can come into play as we see, oh, a very, very out of shape BMW. Like Kepler was struggling just a touch with Mulsanne corner, but they're seeing what we've seen plenty of times this season, Chaz. Unfortunately, right the way after the first round of pit stops, the field does begin to stretch and spread out just a tad.
Yeah, we'll bring up the map and show you all just how it's spread out. And I mean, because of the length of this circuit, it doesn't look that spread out, does it? But I mean, if you consider that the AM leader is, well, he's 55 seconds ahead of John Casey, 14 seconds ahead of Travis Kepler, and Travis is just coming into Arnage now. Jason Bridges just had a bit of a moment through Arnage, which we'll have a look at. It has really sort of thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, but sometimes pit stop races do that. That was close. Sometimes pit stop races do that. Other times, you know, they can bunch back up. I think because of the slipstream that we've got here, we're going to have one of the usual things we've had this season where there's a bunch of sort of duets together. You know, there's drivers just battling in their pairs throughout the field. And I think that we're kind of lucky to have a circuit like Le Mans on the calendar because we do get that. But still, the guys that have been racing for us this year, and well, I say this season at least, have been absolutely brilliant. You know, they've been so competitive and the pace has been so close. You never know who's going to win any of these races, really.
Yeah, we don't really have it nailed down right up until the final lap sometimes, do we, Chaz? And I mean, I've been watching a lot of the progressive drivers up and down the field, and hats have got to go after Dean Timms because he's recovered brilliantly from that early shunt he suffered in the race coming down in towards Arnage, and he's just at the back of this train led by Braden Carroll for P3, so you can just about see him, I think, in the background here coming out of Tetra Rouge, just there. Been able to make up quite a lot of deficit. Still damage on the rear end, but not as severe as it once was. Will, of course, upset the balance of the car coming through the Porsche curves in that final sector, but for the moment, doesn't seem to hamper him.
No, that's very true. There's a number of drivers that do seem, I don't know, they seem more phased by certain sections of this circuit than others. You know, pushing the limits a little bit. Other drivers maybe looking a bit more reserved and hanging back. And that's what makes a difference around a circuit like Le Mans. You know, it's not as terrifying as the Nordschleife, but it's one of those crown jewels on a racing calendar. You know, it's a massive circuit, humongous amounts of history, of course, from the 24-hour race. But even when it comes to your own league races as well, you know, there's a lot of weight on it. Saying that you won at Le Mans is really quite the boasting point, to be honest with you. I don't think any of these drivers will be really happy to say that they've won it, because this isn't a series that gives you 3 races on a night or even 2 races on a night. You know, you've just got to get on with it and have that one round every week. And that's your only chance to do it. That's your only chance to prove yourself. And I think if you can win a race at Le Mans in a championship like that, where you only get the one chance per season, there is a lot of bragging rights here. And I think a lot of drivers, regardless of their championship position, will want to do that. But you can see the drivers that are taking it more reserved, and you know, they're a bit taken aback by the circuit itself. It's certainly one with a lot of prowess, isn't it?
Oh, it really is a wonderful circuit. I have to say, Le Mans is up there as one of my favourite circuits to race on any sim, especially in iRacing. Laserscan Le Mans is something else. It's a wonderful treat to drive, especially for 24 hours, which I'm looking forward to. Big moment there. Huge twitch from Carroll. Does well to recover the car. Uses the escape road and the gravel trap. But he gains the car underneath himself and now gets back up underway to try and regain those positions. Get back up into P3. But let's have a look. Oh, just as he turns in, the rear loses traction. Then it snaps on him. Wonderful stuff to recover that, because that was scary stuff. I want to see on board because there must have been, wrists almost snapping to try and recover that.
Yeah, that was a very, very good save. It's easy for the car to completely go around there just in one go. You can try and sort of guide it with a bit of opposite lock, but just do it gently. But
struggling with the rear end still, Chaz. Just saw it there through that right-hander.
Yeah, the Ferraris just look so much more stable, don't they, than the Lamborghinis and Audis. It's crazy, really.
They don't have the edginess about them that the other cars have, but it sort of deceives you into thinking that they're a little bit slower through the corners. They're not. They're just as quick. It's just, I don't know, you don't see the same amount of movement across the car that you would in the Lamborghinis or the Audis, or to an extent even the BMW. That car's got a little bit of liveliness to about it when you really push the limits. But as you see the Ferraris turn in, it seems, nearly pedestrian, but it's a sign of a good race car that it's nice and stable, doesn't react too much to anything in a severe way, and just gets about its business and churns out the lap time.
Yeah, that's all you need to do around here, really, especially in a race this long, is just churn out those laps, like you say, Ed. There's that cone being taken for a... Well, that was more of a kiss of the cone this time round. But Harry Wills... Yeah. Harry Wills still ahead of Daniel Tenorio and Jonathan Houlier. Three of them only separated by 1.5 seconds. Eric Kulaga and Dean Timms, they're right together. Dean tucked right up behind once again, but he doesn't need to push, does Dean? Eric is the guy that he's trying to beat in the championship, so even if he finishes right behind him, he will be champion. So he could just sit there and maybe just tease Eric a little bit and just say, look, I'm here, mate. Our cameraman nearly falls over as Stephen Martinez then comes through the chicane as well. He's doing a great job at leading the AM category in this race at the moment. Second in the championship, only to the man behind him, Justin Delano. And he is the guy that is currently on course to take that class win as well.
I mean, there's been some wonderful drives from Delano across the rounds. If I've been awake at the right time, I'll try my best to catch the rounds before I inevitably pass out due to the late timing of these races for us in the UK. But for what I've been seeing across the season, all of these drivers that are in these top championship spots coming into this last round have thoroughly deserved it. You can't really say otherwise, especially for Delano, because, well, we don't tend to follow the AMs that much. He has been far and away one of the quickest guys and one of the drivers to beat there for the AMs. Same as well, actually, for Martinez, but I don't think he's had the ability to keep it up over the entire season. There's been a few moments here and there where he has struggled, whereas Delano, he has been on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, when you look back at the performances this season, Justin Delano's taken 3 class wins. Rounds 8, 9 and 4. And he's taken 3 second places, 2 third places, and then his worst result was actually round 2 at Watkins Glen, where he got 65 points. That sounded like someone going around there. It was Braden Carroll, Lamborghini around again, yeah. He's really struggling.
The similar section that we saw last lap, wasn't it, Chaz? Coming through Indianapolis this time, through Arnage.
Yeah, he's once again the back end of this car just not behaving. Let's have a look. Is he going to clip the curb? Oh, he's just gone way too hot, but yeah, the curb helps for sure. And then he's just going to sit there and wait, and I think he's still there. No, he has got going now. I think he was just waiting for the right opportunity for cars to be out of the way and so on.
A lot of patience there from Carroll, because he waited nearly 20 seconds before getting back up and running.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy, isn't it, really? But it has to be done. It's not a nice thing to have to sit there and lose all of that time, but, you know, being the good sport and the clever driver.
To him,
yeah, definitely. That is good sportsmanship. Not to just sort of pull back onto the track and potentially ruin somebody else's race. He's waited for quite a while there. Errol Urixoy, he's a driver we've not seen much of so far in this race, but it's a case of no news is good news. This BMW has been absolutely on rails from the very start for Errol. Not many BMWs in the field, only 2 tonight. Himself and Travis Kepler in the Team Premac red car, but Errol's got a 7.5 second lead over Jeremy Littleton. Yeah, Jeremy may have been battling with other cars, but still, he's been the man that has been properly racing away. And look, again, he's staying in the middle of the road, using that arc in the concrete. And I hate to say it, Ed, because you know how I feel about it, but that BMW is looking good.
I was about to say, Jazz, come on, you had to admit it, that around here at Le Mans, that BMW is looking wonderful. You can just see it now, the way it rides the curves, I don't know, it doesn't seem to look as, I don't know, almost as boring as the Ferrari, almost as placid as the Ferrari coming in through some of the corners. It has that liveliness that we see a lot actually from, I mean, look at that, the rear end jiggling about just a touch from the Audi R8 now, as all of a sudden, let's join the party, all 3 of them very close together. Let's see if we can go on board with Tenorio or Ouellette to see that closing speed on the run towards Indianapolis. All 3 of them in the mix. Look at this, darting to the left-hand side. Tenorio goes for the race lead. Is he going to snatch it by going around the outside? Is Ouellette going to put himself in the mix to try and grab P2? Oh. Wow, right the way around the outside, then to the inside to get it set up for Arnage. Wonderful stuff from Ouellette, but credit where credit is due. Harry Wills, he could have easily been involved in an incident there. Gave enough racing room to make sure there wasn't any contact.
Yeah, that was fantastic racing. Absolutely fantastic racing. And Jonathan Ouellette, you have to say, it was a great move by Tenorio. He went the right side. He's one of his teammates for sure, but, you know, that doesn't make it that much easier. Ouellette found the gap round the outside. Great space given. Lovely angle as well. You have to like that. Unfortunately, Daniel Florea won't like this. He has gone straight on at the chicane, and something has gone amiss there because, yeah, there's a bit of damage on that, isn't there? He's not... It didn't look like it was going the right way, did it, for a second there? It looked like something was wrong, like he'd had a monitor issue or something like that, and something had failed and he couldn't see where he was going, but he manages to crack on, but yeah, it didn't look like a comfortable scenario for Florea. Maybe a bit of damage as well on the front right of that car from what we saw there. This is Justin Delano, who's had Michael Fowler overtake him down the run to Indy. But still, neither of them able to do anything about Stephen Martinez at the front of this class.
Delano very lucky there because he got over that curb on the entry into Arnage. And I thought for a moment we are going to see the car spear and spit him round, but well recovered, well held by Delano. Right up in behind Fowler as they make their way towards the Porsche curves. Can't quite find a way through. Nose to tail though. Wonderful sight, isn't it? Just to see the cars speeding through. Such a fun section if you can get it right as well. Coming way through, lovely. Again, that static camera on the exit. Wonderful stuff. As we see, oh no, not again, Braden. Oh.
Same corner as well.
That Lamborghini. Oh, and...
Look at that though. Look, take note of this, everyone. Let's just let me guess what I'm going to point out here. Look how quickly he gets that out of the way. He doesn't care that there's no cars around him. He might not even know there was no cars around him. Straight away, he gets that thing in reverse before it's even come to a complete stop, and he gets it off the road. Massive hats off to Braden Carroll. We saw him wait a long time earlier, and we've just seen that fantastic display of awareness to get the car out of the way after an incident. That's what everyone needs. That's what everybody needs. You need to have that awareness to just get the car out of harm's way, because if it's in harm's way, it's not just your race that it's going to be affecting. Fair play, Braden.
Braden seems like a lovely lad after that. When you see something like that, a driver doing that on a racetrack, you think, I should buy him a beer.
Yeah. You think, what a lovely guy.
Anyone who knows him, anyone that can, buy that man a beer. I mean, you'll need one after the race he's been having, but buy that man a beer just for no other reason than he's been just very courteous, I think is the best way to put it, for all those out on the circuit, and seems to be just a lovely lad.
Leave the cone alone, Gary. Leave it. Did you see?
He has to take out his frustrations. Look at, it's not in the best shape, that car. He needs some outlet.
But it. Oh, it disappeared for a second. Then it's going to reappear now, isn't it? No, it's gone.
There's a race going on up in front of Gary Brown.
Yeah, sorry.
Noulet.
Oh no,
Whoa,
Tenorio!
no!
Tenorio's off and surely out of the race. Oh no. Harry Wills and Tenorio. Oh, Tenorio's done it on his own. I think that's a terrifying accident. That is a massive, massive hit into the wall. Let's see what happened here. We'll see it outside.
They touched. He did. He turned in too early, and
oh man.
Part of me feels that Ouellette turned in a bit too early, came across and unsettled. Tenorio will see it here. Or does Tenorio drift a little bit too?
I don't know if it affected the car.
That's difficult to call, actually, from that angle.
It really is. I'm not sure if it affected the car or not because of how it turned in, but yeah, Daniel, unfortunately, his race, and I feel now his charge for second in the championship is over. It'd be intriguing to see whether the stewards look at that one and what they think of it as well. Obviously, we can only basically think about it. We can not scrutinise. What's the word? Speculate. We can speculate.
Yeah.
But
we can put our amateur stewards' hats on, but we can't put our actual stewards' hats on as...
Oh, that's the second time Jeff's done that tonight. Jeff goes
off.
off.
Putting a hat on. Jeff might want to put his coat on and
yeah,
get going home as you see him peel off into the gravel there. That car is, unfortunately, probably seen its last hit into the barriers of the day.
Yeah, grab your coat, you've pulled. Definitely.
Not in the pleasant kind of way either.
No, definitely not. No.
You pulled a muscle in your neck, I think, after hitting the wall that hard.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as we see, Dean Timms. Now, we haven't really followed his progress up through the field, but I shone a light on him when he was in about 6th or 7th place. Now, the next time we find him, he's up into P3.
Yeah.
What a drive.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from Dean Timms, and I mean, there's a reason he's leading the championship. He's got great pace. He's got terrible looking number boards, but that's beside the point. 3rd place at the moment. He's racing Eric Kulaga in the championship. Eric is behind him on track. Dean is doing everything he needs to do. We've now got a 2-horse race at the front with the pros. 41 seconds ahead of Dave Menino, I must add. And oh, Braden. Oh, Braden. Now, he knows there's no cars anywhere near him right now. He's got about 18 seconds back to Jason Bridges and anybody else. Oh, God, that sounds good. Oh, yeah, that just sounded unbelievable. Oh, whoa. Now, that camera came in good use there, but it's gone one way, then the other for Braden there, hasn't it? Let's have a look at this again. Oh, he's clipped that curb on the way in. Look, straight away, gets it down the gears so he can do something with it when it stops. And I'm just going to turn this up for everybody again at my end so you can hear this car pull away. This is going to get loud. Good Lord, that's a good noise. There you go, everybody. I'm sorry if that was too loud, but yeah, Braden Carroll does probably the right thing and drags it into the pits now. I think he's had enough. Side by side for the race lead, though. We've seen this before.
Haven't we just? But we've seen this end in a less than savoury way, hopefully. The pair of them will keep it nice and clean through Indianapolis. Side by side. Nothing in it. I think Fro just has the edge, but only slightly down the inside. Can the Audi hang it around the outside now? Can he? Oh.
Harry Wills!
Can he? Heck, Harry Wills.
How do you fit man fruits that large in that cabin in that Audi? Unbelievable. That was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic by Harry Wills. I've got to give him that. Good Lord. He may have crashed this Audi a lot this season, but that makes up for all of it 10 times over. What a fantastic bit of driving. And you know what? Massive credit to Jonathan Ouellette as well. He left the space as Fernando Alonso would have asked him to, and it was very respectful stuff. You know, I don't think there was any malice or anything that untoward about the contact earlier with Tenorio, but that shows there that really Jonathan Houlet's out just to have a good race, isn't he? It's fantastic to see stuff like that. Love it.
Oof, I'm stunned. I'm stunned, Chaz. That was a wonderful move from Harry Wills to just hold the inside line and then put himself in the right position just to sling it around the outside at Indianapolis. You can see it here. The car's nice and settled. It gives him the confidence to sling it right the way around the outside, and knows that Houlet's going to be having to take a narrow line, having to slow the car down more and earlier. The car being offline. You can see the instability in the car here on the marbles as well. Under brakes. Wow. That is
that is brilliant. I mean, a lot of the credit does go to Jonathan Houlet for the fact that he left the space on the inside. You know, he slowed the car down, he tightened his line, he compromised himself a little bit just to make sure that he didn't have contact with Harry. But yeah, I don't have many more words for that. All we know is that was good. Dave Meneno's in the pits now with these guys in front. Justin Delano has stopped at the Porsche curves. We've got people saying Delano's the GOAT in the chat. I think you may have just jinxed your favourite driver there. Michael Fowler got past Justin not long ago. Let's see what happened. Oh, he's lost it on his own, and he's met Jeff Carollo's favourite wall there, I'm afraid. That is a big old hit, that.
And it's on the right front. Is there suspension damage? I think it's the knock onto the right rear for good measure. I think. Is there suspension damage? Well. What do you think, Chaz? I'm no expert, but I don't think the wheels are supposed to be pointing that direction.
No, I'm no expert either, to be honest with you. But that is not.
That's some of the worst suspension damage I've seen. Look at the angle of it.
Has that been in another hit? Because I think something else has happened to that Ferrari.
I think it's because it hit on the right front and then the right rear in the same moment.
Yeah, well,
and that's all of that damage on one side of the car. Because you'll see it here, it looks fine. Then there's the initial hit, and then the second hit comes up as he reverses in.
And that's broken. That's broken the rear, you reckon?
I think so.
Oh no, it's that. Yeah, it's that front right. It's that front right. That's horrendous damage. Now the question in chat, which is a very apt one, is where does Justin need to be if Stephen Martinez wins this class? Now, Stephen is currently going to get 100 points if he wins this class. And then it's 5 points down for each position. So Michael Fowler will get 95, Jason Bridges 90, Matthew Plaisance 85, Travis Kepler 80. Justin Delano is currently still in 6th place, which will be 75 points. The gap is 30.
For Delano, because there's no fast repairs, that's a 15-minute repair at least, and that's just for the mandatory repairs, I would imagine.
John Casey is in the pits, and he's got damage as well. Now, that could very well have been repaired before. So, this could be very interesting, because Daniel Florea is still out there, and he doesn't have damage. He's also not even a lap down on Justin. Justin's now dropped down to 7th. This could actually... Yeah, Delano says he only needed 6. He's even in the YouTube chat now as well. Justin, we are so devastated for you now. We're just figuring out the situation. But right now, as things stand, Stephen Martinez is on his way to be the AM champion here, Ed.
Yeah, how long did he say the sort of standard repair was? Did he say it was 6 minutes?
I'm not sure. I do not remember.
Because I feel that that'd be 15 at least. With that level of suspension damage.
Travis Kepler's off now.
Everyone's just really starting to struggle now.
Yeah.
As the tyres begin to wear, the driver's focus and maybe stamina begins to wane. Dave Meneno to be fair, after seeing the other drivers this evening starting to struggle coming to the walls, maybe Dave, by playing it safer, backing off, especially through this section here, keeping very, very clear of the walls. He's probably got the smartest head about himself just to hang on, knows what he needs to do to secure a Pro Class victory.
Yeah, indeed. He's 5th overall at the moment as well. He's actually behind Michael and Eric Kulaga. The two Vulture Motorsports cars. Into the pits comes Michael. Eric not far behind either. Dave Meneno carries on. That is why he is behind, because he's pitted and they have not. 53.5 minutes of this race already done here, Ed. And we are getting into the last 20 minutes of the championship. I can't believe it's come around that quickly during just this race alone.
Yeah, I know, and we've still got a race for P1 in the Pro Class on our hands. Wills and Ouellette, how many times have we seen the pair of them scrapping it out this season, Chaz, as we see Travis Kepler outbrake himself, and then
That's it.
that's it.
Yeah, and he's gone back to the pits, and that's that. But that doesn't help Justin Delano in any way. He has not actually gained anything from that. Justin is currently in 8th place. Now, all he would need is for somebody else in his class to have some drama, and then he can basically get moving and just try and overtake them. Even if he's just a couple of laps down, you know, he'll only need 2 laps in the bag. So we'll have to see. This could still change. Daniel Florea is 6th at the moment. There he is. The Twisted Racing car. Currently 15th overall. And a long, long way ahead of Justin Delano. But if Justin gets going again, if that damage gets fixed, then he could still gain place.
That's a lot of damage to get fixed.
It is.
And it's about how the car is after it has been fixed.
It
still might not be drivable for him.
No. I'd imagine it probably won't be, if I'm honest with you, but this is certainly...
It'll have to be just about bringing it home till the end of the race, I think, for Delano, because Kepler, he's completely out. So if Delano is able just to get that car up and running, he will gain 1 position at the very least. But it's about getting that car back up and running. As we see, look at this. Plaisance battling it out with Bridges. Pair of them doing a great job. And look at that, Bridges. Whoa, sweeping his way around the outside of the Mulsanne. The first Mulsanne chicane, rather, coming up towards the second now. It just... listen to the sound of these two cars. You can hear V8 versus V6. Oh, wonderful sound.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful, wonderful stuff, isn't it? Great, great fun. At the end of the day, you know, these drivers, they sometimes, they're getting too much of a rhythm, you know, and they don't go for some of the moves that you might want them to, or some of the exciting moves you'd expect. But I think the fact that we've got so many drivers in this championship that they're all entertaining. You know, there's not one boring driver in the series. As Jason Bridges gets very entertaining behind Matthew Plaisance. Flipping heck. And
that was...
I know.
I think that's the best way you can put it. It's just with a noise and woof. Scary, scary stuff. Almost Bridges into the back of Plaisance. And look at this yet again. Ouellette and Wills. They're just inseparable. These two have been together from the start of the race up until now. Basically from the entirety of the season. Like I mentioned, Chaz. These two have given us some of the best battles of this season. And what a way to round out such a great season with one final one here at Le Mans.
And poor old Dan Tenorio in the chat as well, saying slight contact with Ouellette going into Indy, threw the car off balance, and he's got 27 minutes of repairs. Justin Delano had 15, but he's accidentally left his pit box, I should say, and he's now got a 5-minute tow back to it before it'll continue repairing. So right now, that is that, I'm afraid, for Delano. That is so devastating.
Might get one lap at the end.
I don't think
But
it's
will
going to
that
be
be
enough. No, it won't be. With the drivers that are still out there, they're already a couple of laps ahead of him right now, so I'm afraid it will not be enough.
So would he then need, well, his main rival, Martinez, to get overtaken by Fowler? Is that the only saving grace?
Yeah, well, now he's down in 8th. It needs to be 2 positions lost for Martinez. He needs to finish 3rd, and they will tie on points.
And that is not going to happen because Plaisance in 3rd place is, well, nearly 19 seconds back. So it'd have to take Martinez. Unfortunately, having an incident of his own, which let's hope is not the case. You would never want to wish any incident on a driver. Maybe unless you are Delano in this situation. But even then, I don't think Delano would want to
No,
win the championship in that manner.
No, definitely not. And this is the thing, I mean, he can't gain any places when he's sat there in the pits. You know, other people may fall off, but he still has to outdo them in the race. What a save by Matthew Plaisance. That camera angle really showed that well. Now he's got to be careful that the rears aren't cooked as he drifts it around the next couple of corners. Let's see what that big burly 6.3 litre V8 looks like in that Merc now as it punches its way down the straight. I remember racing actually in a league here in GT3 cars not long after the GT3 Mercedes came out on iRacing, and this thing was so good in the corners, but my god was it fast in a straight line. It was stupid how fast it was, especially here at Le Mans. And then the Ferrari came out and it was even quicker. But yeah, that Mercedes there of Jason Bridges up into 3rd place. Trying to see what Jason's best result in class is this season. He's had 75
Sorry,
points.
Chaz, to jump across. Oulette and Wills again battling it out, chopping and changing positions several times.
Beautiful.
Might need to go for a replay on that. They're still not done. Look at this. Harry Wills looking to try and get through into the Porsche curves, looking to the outside now. Is he going to try yet another move to sweep on through? Can he do it? Oh,
Someone get this boy a medal. Flipping
Good
heck.
Lord.
Unbelievable. Well, you know what? Again, Oulette gave him the room. Oulette was very respectful. Very respectful. And it's this driving by Jonathan that I love watching, because it just makes you so happy as a spectator, as a commentator, and as a series admin as well. You know, Harry will love the fact that his drivers are safe enough to race like that. It's just been brilliant to see. Absolutely brilliant to see. These two have been so entertaining. Look at this. Oh. We'll go on a chopper cam and get a good old view of this. Because look, Harry tucks in. He gets the slipstream. Jonathan goes over to the left. And Harry says, you know what? I'm going to try and find that extra bit of gap on the left. And Jonathan goes, all right then. You want to go that way? You try it. And Harry goes, yeah, watch this. That's brilliant commitment. Absolutely brilliant commitment, that is, by Harry Wills. And again, Jonathan, fair play. Fair play to Jonathan Oulette. Oh, Harry's lost the back end. Oh, he's had a few moments this season with the Audi trying to break away and kill him. And, well, that was one of them now again. He needs to be careful because the rears will be cooked. So Oulette goes to the front. Dave Meneno's still in this race, by the way, but look how far back he is. Still 3rd place, though. He's on for a podium at least.
Getting caught.
Yeah, he is. Wow.
And, I mean, Errol Oryxai, he's going to, you know, his eyes are going to be lighting up at the chance to overtake a pro class leader and what will be the overall champion this season. To get a chance to overtake him on the road, he's not going to pass that up, is he? He's going to be going for it right up until the end of the race.
Yeah, he's going to be pushing all the way to the end.
And, well, actually, it will be. Don't forget, Chaz, this is for the overall podium.
Yeah, it is, yeah. He'll try and get...
What a result that'd be for him.
Be an absolute wonder position, wouldn't it? To be on an overall podium. He's flashing the lights. He knows that he's in touch. And right now, thinking about it, you get 100 points for winning your class. Stephen Martinez is on for 100 points. Justin Delano is on for 70. So they would tie in this situation. So 6th would have obviously guaranteed it for Delano because he would have just got 5 points more than Stephen Martinez could have possibly scored.
I think counted back on race wins, if that is indeed the scenario.
Delano's got it.
Delano takes it because he's got 3, doesn't he? He won, the last 2 on the bounce, which put him in the great position where he was coming into this final round. He won the 5th round, actually he won the 4th round, didn't he, Chaz Delano?
Yeah, Delano won round 4, 8, and 9. He's currently on a 2-win streak, and Stephen Martinez won round 5, but has had a multitude of second places. So too has Delano. So the pair of them very, very closely matched, but on wins it's 3-1 to Delano. If he just finishes the race, he will be champion. Now he's got, 11 minutes to get back out there and do it. So only time will tell. Harry Wills down the inside of the Porsche, which has just gone off again. Yeah, John Casey spins it again, I'm afraid, there. Front end of that Porsche even shorter than normal. But right now, oh no, we've got a car off and it's Dean Timms. Although he's back on, it's not a major off. But it was an off down at Mulsanne Corner. He's now in 3rd place, but that's still enough to take the championship title. So nothing too much to be worried about there. Look at this, though. Dave Meneno and Errol Yuriksoy getting closer and closer together. Errol is... I'm pretty convinced Errol is going to take a podium position here, Ed.
Going to see on board with the BMW. 5th gear. Shift up into 6th. He's going to go down a couple more. Coming up to the Porsche curve. 5th, 6th, 4th, and then 4th, yep. Hanging it close. Keeping tight to the right, then swiping through the left. Up into 5th to keep the car stable. Down to then get some engine braking. Keeps the car stable, not having to apply the brakes, which can unsettle the rear balance of the car. Hang it in 4th, count the power as early as you can through Corvette. Then Maison Blanche, 5th. Just shy, I think, of 6th gear. Actually, no, gets it because of the toe. Down to 3rd. Then drops down 1 more second. You avoid 1st like the plague in this car. You really do. There aren't really many GT3 cars that you want to go into 1st one, apart from maybe the Lamborghini, but I think there's only really a couple corners that you would ideally use that gear in. Okay, this RX-8 a lot closer now. He's going for it, you know.
Yeah, he is.
He's definitely not going to give this up a chance for an overall podium for Errol Orixai. I mean, it's thoroughly deserved as well. Yeah, you know, just struggling. You can see the car not quite underneath him as he would like. Oh, here we go through Tetra Rouge. All the way down the Mulsanne. Are we going to see Errol Orixai down into the first chicane on the Mulsanne? Make the move. The P3 here, Chaz. Here we go. Hanging in behind. Meneno not using the crown of the road. How close the pair of them are. Orixai down the inside line. He's looking for it. He's not going for it. Sizing up. Current Pro Class P1 position driver in terms of the championship at the very least. Good drive out from the BMW. Is he going to get it now, Chaz? Has he got the run to take P3 overall on the road?
I reckon so.
Here we go.
I think the car is that stable that he can chuck it into a corner and be all right with it. I think Meneno's going to let him go with it. You know, it's not going to affect his championship. And look at that, he's already in front before they get to the chicane. Meneno takes it nice and easy on the way in. Oh, he barely knocks the cone over. Well, Errol Yuriksoy is up into 3rd place overall in the Twisted Racing BMW. Great drive by him so far, but I mean, not to sort of take anything away from it or taint it, or to wee on the bonfire, but that Lamborghini, that just shows how uncomfortable it is around here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is, but still, wonderful stuff, isn't it? By Errol Eriksoy. 3rd place overall. He will be chuffed to bits at the end of this, Jazz. I'm sure if we interview him, you can always hear his smile, wouldn't you? As we now come to a very interesting fight for P1 in the M class. Martinez and Fowler.
Well, put it this way.
Not wanting to give this up.
Well, put it this way. If Michael Fowler overtakes Stephen Martinez, Delano is champion.
He will be.
So, not only does Justin need to just finish or have it classed as this, because I think he's done more than half race distance. He's done 13 laps. So he's going to have done more than half race distance by the time this finishes. But if Michael Fowler overtakes Stephen Martinez, then yeah, he gains an extra 5 points on him because Stephen loses the 2. So he'll get 95 points. Justin Delano will get 70. Hence, Stephen will only gain 25 points on him. And he needs 30 just to tie. So, yeah, right now, Michael Fowler is the man that can change it all. It's like the whole F1 2008 situation where Vettel was the car that could spoil it for Hamilton. And he went and overtook him with a couple of laps to go. So Michael Fowler is within striking distance, I'd say.
Delano's back out on track.
He is, yes. I just saw it flash up. Delano's back out in the car. Doesn't look too bad. So Justin now, all the cars ahead of him are running. He is the last car running. Oh, it's not a pretty pig, is it? Right now, he needs to be careful with it. Very, very careful. Even if he's at like double the pace or double the lap time he normally is, as long as he gets it to the end, he will win the championship. This is incredible how close it all is. How it's coming down to these final moments. The gap is 1.5 seconds, though, between Stephen Martinez and Michael Fowler. So it looks like Michael needs to get his finger out a little bit here to crack on with it and make the difference. And again, we have AMS ahead of Pro-Ams on the left-hand side. I do not have a clue why it's doing it. I am really sorry. I didn't even notice that it had changed over until just now. But Dean Timms is on his way to the title in that Ferrari. And he's not got long to go now. Less than 5 minutes. One more lap.
Bridges coming into the pits here, Chaz. Maybe it's because I noticed that a lot of the drivers, I mean the pro drivers, they pitted very early, and I had a thought. I didn't mention it because I thought it would be a bit silly, but I had a thought: are they gonna have enough till the end of the race? Because I think the reason why we've been seeing as well, Chaz, drivers coming into the pits so early is because you spend so much of the lap flat out here at Le Mans that you're running through the fuel. All of a sudden, we might see one more pit stop. We're going to find out as Jonathan Ouellette or Harry Wills, whenever they come up to the line, should be greeted by the white flag. I'd imagine that would be the case. And just look at that darting to the inside. Here we go. Harry Wills is trying to take back P1.
Yeah, lovely stuff. To the right-hand side into Indy. Both of them back out of it. But both of them end up side by side still. And Harry around the outside again. Is he going to do it a second time? Not as much of a run this time round. Ouellette is still there. He's going to be on the curb for Naj, though. Needs to be careful. Harry stops it on the apex. Fantastic stuff by the pair of them once again.
Good drive by Ouellette.
Really good entertainment by both of these guys. But yeah, the thing is, because a lap is so long, if you are going to get an extra lap in the race because of the time, you can't risk running out of fuel on it. You use a lot of fuel per lap here at Le Mans. And look at this. Now Ouellette's going to say, watch you hung it around the outside. Now watch me do it. And Harry says, not in your life, son. Now I'm going to go around the outside of you here. And he's going to do it as well. He's going to do it. He's done it. Fantastic stuff by Harry Wills. My God, he's a determined boy today. He wants to get the race win. He's like, let me finish my season with a win, Jonathan. Stop it. He's
Harry Wills.
He's gonna do it by any means necessary. One more lap.
Harry Wills must be a doctor. He is putting on an absolute clinic of overtaking skill and ability as they do. They both come into the pits One more lap to go. One final splash and dash for the pair of them. Here we go, Chaz. Battle not only in the pits, but also on the racetrack. One final time here at Le Mans. We said there was going to be some late drama. There always is at this circuit in these cars. What do you know? Here we go. Harry Wills, Jonathan Houlier, whose pit crew's the fastest at putting the fuel in and getting them back up and running.
They've been mega entertainment, though. Absolutely mega entertainment.
Oh, wonderful.
To finish the season. And then they stop. We're just going to...
the same point.
Yeah, they're literally just going to have a splash and dash. Harry gets out quicker. 4.9 seconds to Jonathan's 7.4. Very intriguing, that difference. Now then. This is the gap for the AM lead. Michael Fowler could overtake Steven Martinez on this final lap of the race. If he does, Justin Delano is definitely champion. If Steven Martinez finishes where he is and Delano is 7th, which is currently where he is, they'll be tied on points, but I believe Delano will win it because he's got more race wins. That's how I imagine it would be calculated and how I think it should be calculated. But into the pits comes Michael Fowler. Is Steven Martinez going to have enough fuel to go to the end? That is now the question, Ed.
He is going to have to lift and coast like his life depends on it all the way through to the end of this race. Some drivers opting to stay out, others diving in. I saw some bridges dipping in earlier. So Steven Martinez might have been able to have done what race leaders have not, as Dave Menino. Oh, it had been such a, measured and precise drive from him up until that point. Took him all race, but he wasn't coasting around just because, he had a championship just to bring home. No, he was doing it because the car was unstable, the car was unpredictable. He was just doing it because that was all he could do. And finally, we've seen that instability tip over into an incident, a mistake for him.
It was such a naff spin, wasn't it? It was a very naff accident, I must admit. It's just backs it into the wall that tiny bit, and there you go. But still, barely any damage on the car, so I'm sure...
Wills and Houlier close together. Here we go, Chaz.
Oh, God. Down the straight they go. Once more. Into Mulsanne corner. Houlier on the inside. Look at that. On the brakes for a long time. Make sure he tucks it in. Nice and tidy. These two kissing wing mirrors almost as they come out towards Indianapolis. Who's your money on here, Ed? I think Harry Wills has shown some fantastic determination to hold this car on the outside, but Jonathan Houlier really wants to get as many points as possible and round out his season with a win.
This is it. Houlier, I think, has been leaving a little bit in the tank now, letting Harry Wills get the better of him. Has he got that last little bit to do battle with Harry as they come through Indianapolis for the final time down towards Tetra Rouge? It's all about the exit because one final overtaking opportunity is into the Porsche curves. A good, stable exit by the Ferrari. It's going to have to be a wonderful getaway by the Audi, who's immediately putting the pressure on the Ferrari. You can see Houlier weaving to the right, to the left, each way and every way to try and keep Harry Wills at bay. Coming into the Porsche curves, it is an advantage Ferrari, but can Harry Wills get something out of this? It's going to have to be right up the rear end, coming out of the Corvette curve in towards the Ford chicanes to have any chance of getting something out of this race. You can see now desperation creeping through from Harry Wills. Has he got enough? Look at this, both of them running just as wide as they can, but through the final couple of chicanes, it seems to me for all the world that Jonathan Houlier will take the final race victory of the season, Chaz.
Into the Ford chicanes once more. The checkered flag is getting ready to be waved. Harry Wills looks to the inside. It's not quite going to be enough. And across the line, Jonathan Houlier takes the flag. Fantastic entertainment by the pair of them. Absolutely loved watching that. That was brilliant, boys. Absolutely brilliant. And speaking of brilliant, well, Errol Yuriksoy, what a drive this boy's had. He's led all of the race in the Pro-Am category, and he is going to finish it off and finish his season off with an incredibly dominant victory. Errol Yuriksoy in the 63 Twisted BMW wins at Le Mans, but not too far down the road is your new overall Race Anywhere World Series US champion. Dave Menino takes the flag, takes the title, and what a fantastic season he's had. Even missing around, still takes the championship. Massive congratulations to Dave. Jeremy Littleton finished just behind him. Michael Kulaga is going to finish in third. Steven Martinez crosses the line ahead of Fowler, and he takes the AM win. Justin Delano will be classified 7th. And where is Dean Timms? Well, into the Ford chicanes for him once more. He had a massive impact in the back of the car earlier on, but he's done everything he needed to from then on. 5th place goes his way, and he is the Pro-Am champion in the Race Anywhere World Series. Beautifully done. And crossing the line as well not long ago, with what's left of Justin Delano's car, he is the AM champion, everybody. If it's counted on wins, which it should be, Justin Delano wins the AM championship. But boy, Ed, we had a final race there, didn't we? He just about made that one work. And look at these Vulture Motorsport boys making this picture. That's pretty. I like that. Oh,
yeah,
don't do it. Oh, well, he had to hit him, didn't he? Why do you have to drive into him?
I tell you what, Chaz. I mean, coming into this, we thought that the championships were wrapped up, and they eventually were by the drivers we expected, but my word, was it a close run thing. Anything that could have gone wrong for those drivers ended up going wrong. I mean, we saw Menino miles off the pace. We were worried he might struggle to keep the car under wraps if he DNF'd. That was it for the championship for him. Fortunately for his sake, he was able to bring it across the line, and then in the promos, Dean Timms, that huge shunt up the rear into Arnage. That could have been his race done and dusted very early on, and his championship completely out of the window, but brilliant stuff to get back up and running. The damage was less severe than I think he or us in the booth feared, and brought it through for a brilliant P5 to secure the Pro-Am championship. And then in the AMs, Justin Delano. Wow. I mean, heart attack city for any fans of Delano. They were cheering him on, calling him the GOAT, and then the next minute we saw him in the wall. Huge damage, the most damage I've ever seen on a car in iRacing. And he managed to get it repaired so much quicker than I was expecting, bringing it through P7, which has just, when I say just, I mean just, tied on points, count back on race wins, been enough to secure the AM class victory.
Absolutely incredible stuff to watch. Absolutely incredible. Really entertaining all the way through. There are your pro results. Jonathan Ouellette takes the win, less than quarter of a second ahead of Harry Wills. Hats off to those boys because they were so much fun. Dave Menino eventually 46 seconds down, but is the champion. Very well done to Dave on a mega season. Just to think it started with that disconnect at Silverstone. Unbelievable. Daniel Tenorio, unfortunately, after that incident, did not finish. Next up, though, Ed, if you would do the honours, my friend, it's the Pro-Am standings.
Thank you very much, Chaz. Yeah, Errol Yuriksoy, what a drive from a BMW that I love to see. It did so well to get up onto the overall podium for Twisted Racing Team. They're the 63, able to taste the champagne on the overall podium for the first time this season in a very thrilling final round. Jeremy Littleton, great drive, you have to say, from the Canadian. Had some great scraps to get up into P2 and to hold on ahead of Michael Kulaga. Finishes in P3, rounding out the Pro-Am podium. Then we come down to Eric Kulaga. Unfortunately, wasn't able to secure the Pro-Am podium, the Pro-Am class in the end, because the man in behind, Dean Timms, finished in P5 and secured the Pro-Am championship in P5 here at Circuit de la Sarthe. Then down to Gary Brown for the 49 FTR Esports car. I mean, Gary Brown had his fair share of struggles, but kept at it. You'll have to see it. Wonderful stuff from Gary to keep it going and get into P6 ahead of Braden Carroll, the man who I think everyone should be buying a beer after the end of proceedings today because he was just so aware of everything going on the circuit, very courteous to all the other drivers. When he was struggling, he still kept a level head. Wonderful to see. And then 8th, 9th, and 10th, Jeff Carollo, Brent Bravata, and Kai Zeal round out your Pro-Am class for the final round here at Le Mans. Chaz takes it away with the AMs.
Will do, buddy. Steven Martinez did everything he needed to do on the night to try and take the title, but ultimately will just miss out, we believe. Vulture Motorsports Blue driver, though, takes a great win at Le Mans. Michael Fowler, well, he pushed him all the way to the end, it has to be said, but that final pit stop really was the nail in the coffin that split them up. Matthew Plaisance finished third, and then Jason Bridges was the final car on the lead lap. John Casey and Daniel Florea were 1 lap down. Justin Delano, despite being 4 laps down, should be classified as champion. Travis Kepler finished in 8th place, 7 laps down, and James Hebb retired early on. But still, a very, very entertaining race all the same. And it's about time, actually, Ed, that we speak to some drivers. And, well, we've got a few of them to speak to this evening as things go. I think we ought to start maybe... Let's have a look. Well, we're pretty confident that this man is going to be classified as champion, but it certainly came close tonight. It was not an ideal scenario, but Justin Delano joins us in the booth. Justin, you must be pretty relieved with how that ended up, considering at one point you dropped to 8th place. Talk us through how you're feeling.
I was terrified towards the end because I hopped in the stream when I went back to pits and I heard 8th and I was like, oh no, it's over.
Yeah, and I mean, Le Mans as well, being Le Mans, it's not like it's a quick short lap to try and make up on everybody, is it, if you had to do that? But, I mean, it's, well, skin of your teeth situation, but, I mean, to be fair, with the last few wins that you've had in the last 2 rounds coming into this, did you feel really confident coming into tonight, or was there a little bit of doubt in your mind?
There was quite a bit of doubt. This is probably the most nervous I've been for any of these races. I spent all week I needed a 6th place car, so I tried to tune it for that. I got all the snap out of it, and it just did the exact opposite in the same spot.
Well, it certainly looked like a very, very good car to have tonight, the Ferrari. We were talking about the Lamborghini and the Porsches especially, looking a lot more out of shape and a lot more tricky to get around. Did the Ferrari feel as good as it looked?
Yeah, it felt really good. Like I said, I spent a ton of time on the setup. I just wanted it to be stable and get me to the end, and in a way, it kind of did.
Well, with the championship then under your belt, pretty much, what's the plan for next time the series comes around? Are we going to see you back defending your title if there is another one?
I hope so. I'm ready for season 3.
You and me both, Justin. Well, it's an absolute pleasure, mate, and very well done on your championship. Is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks to?
I'd like to thank all the boys on Eclipse. Matt especially, he's had a pretty cursed season, and he's been a really good teammate this year. Team boss, you might know him as Phantom Zero. He's been great supporting us all. And then all my boys back up at school who watched the race tonight. And then I thought I had one more. I feel really bad, but I think that's it.
That's all good, Justin. Not a problem at all, mate. Well, thank you very much for coming in and chatting to us, buddy. Well done once again from both of us here and everyone at Absolute Sim Racing. And we look forward to seeing you in Season 3, mate.
Thank you.
Lovely, lovely stuff. Justin Delano, very, very deserving champion. Why don't we drag in, then, another champion? He finished 10th on the road tonight, which isn't normally where we'd see him, but at the end of the day, he had quite the recovery drive from being absolutely pile-drived by a Porsche in the backside. But Dean Timms, Dean, you must be over the moon, mate. A really, really solid drive tonight despite what happened, and the championship to go with it. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was a tough one. I wasn't expecting the shunt I got behind. I thought it was all over, to be honest. But yeah, that's my first ever championship win. So, over the moon.
Well, it's a very, very difficult championship to win as well. We were just talking about how over the whole season the pace has been so close, and you know, with the reverse grids as well, you never know what's going to get thrown your way, do you, when you come to a race meeting?
No, yeah, absolutely. Starting at the back, trying to work your way through. But I mean, as the season progresses, everyone's like progressed in their pace. They're comfortable, like being more comfortable with the cars. So it's got harder as the season has gone on to get further up the front. So yeah, it's there's a lot of mathematics in your head thinking, do I have to overtake this guy in front in order to get a place in the championship? It's been a wild one. It's been really good.
And was there any sort of favourite moment that you've had this season, or any highlights that really stand out to you?
I think Zolder. Was a turning point for me. Going in, it's always a track that everyone dreads because of the curbs and the GT3 cars, and for whatever reason, the car was really dialed in, and managed to. Apart from at the start of the season, I won the first race, a media day, but then obviously the reverse grid comes into effect, so it was nice. I think that was the only other win I got all season, so that was probably my best moment of the season for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Zolder is, well, it's a circuit I'm more than dubious about whenever I go there. So I'd rather commentate on it than race around it, to be honest. But it's been a hell of a season, Dean, and you and the Twisted Racing boys have been a real backbone of the championship, as we'd expected. Is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks to while we've got you?
Yeah, shout out to you guys. Always do an amazing job.
Thank you.
My friend Twiggy, who's been helping me with setups, and my teammates, and obviously Harry for sort of bringing me on board with the league and with Twisted as well. It's been a really good couple of months, so looking forward to the future.
Cracking stuff, mate. Good way to round it out as well, with a win at Le Mans and, not quite a win at Le Mans, sorry, but championship to go with it, mate. We look forward to seeing you next time round, buddy. Have a good one.
Thanks, Chaz.
Cheers,
boys. Thanks, Ed. Bye, mate.
Cheers, Dean.
Lovely stuff. Dean Timms, new Pro-Am champion. And, well, we'll carry on with the theme of champions. It may not have been his night tonight with how the car was, how the whole race unfolded, even with the little sort of half spin and little bump with the barrier at the end. But new champion overall and pro champion Dave Meneno joins us in the box. Dave, I've probably been saying your name wrong all season, but I doubt that matters now you're champion. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, it's great. It's been an exciting season. A lot of highs for sure. But yeah, it was a blast. This is a lot of fun. Big thanks to you guys for broadcasting, and thanks to Harry and team for setting this up. This is a great series.
And what was your opinion last week? I mean, we didn't have you on track. Was it a nerve-wracking time, thinking, I wonder how everyone's getting on tonight, or were you confident that you'd still have a decent run into the final because of the drop scores?
Yeah, I did the math on the drop scores, so I knew that, knowing I'd have to miss that I should at least be in decent shape. And I saw going into here that I think we had 4 drivers, and I think I needed there to be 6 for me to be in any potential trouble, so I knew I could just kind of take it easy.
And was there any of that tonight? Were you taking it easy, or was the car just not quick enough?
A bit of both. To be honest, I never really run Le Mans, so even when I was pushing, I was a couple seconds off the pace of Harry, Dan, and Jonathan. So, there wasn't much point in taking too many risks for sure. Yeah,
I mean, we agree, of course. It was certainly a race of attrition in some ways, so it certainly made itself apparent that it wasn't going to be an easy ride. I mean, it never is at circuits like Le Mans, but it was still a tidy performance that got the job done. Are there any particular highlights from this season that you've enjoyed?
Oh, God. I mean, there's been a couple wins in there, so those are always nice. I think, probably Mid-Ohio kind of stuck out to me, as that was a fun, just more on the sense of like a strategy win more than anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of good moments, and definitely some lows with Silverstone for sure, but, mostly highs, so that's nice.
Yeah, it's quite interesting looking back at Silverstone and the heartbreak at the end of that race after such a commanding performance, pulling off the strategy and then all for it to fall apart. But here we are now, and you are the new champion, so very well done from us, Dave. Any final thanks to anybody before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys, Chaz and Ed, for the great broadcast all season.
Thank you.
It's been a blast rewatching those, and yeah, of course. And, Harry and team for setting this thing up, and then the SRT Esport team. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Cracking stuff. Well, very well done, Dave. You are the new pro champion and overall champion of the Race Anywhere World Series US. Go and enjoy it, mate. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. Overall champion, Dave Meneno. Absolute star. Very consistent all the way through. You know, there wasn't a single moment this season where we were in any doubt of his performance, were we, Ed?
No, not particularly. There was some, really, really amazing performances all throughout the season. And yeah, I was glad to have been there for the 2 rounds that Dave mentioned.
Yeah.
The first one at Silverstone with the heartbreak, and then the elation at Mid-Ohio. It was, very up and down season for him, but came out with the win.
He did indeed, and he did it in very convincing fashion. Someone else that was incredibly convincing tonight, who, if I'm honest with you, I'm gutted he didn't get the win. No offence to Jonathan Ouellette, but Harry Wills, series admin, joins us. Harry, you were a star tonight, mate. I have to say it, not to blow too much smoke up your backside, but some of the racing that you and Jonathan had, talk us through it from your point of view. You must have loved it.
Well, I got to say, Jonathan is one of the probably more, so we say, stronger talents, should we say, in the pro field. And I think between me, you, and the gatepost, and I don't think you mind me saying it, but Jonathan is known for being quite aggressive very early on. So the whole race, I know Le Mans is always the sit back and fuel save, but when I saw him in front of me, I thought, he's not getting that treatment. Not for 1 second during this race. I've got 9 rounds of sends to make up for. So, but look, I got to say, it's been a really fantastic season. I don't think I've ever had a season where I've had, in pro especially, where I've got 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who could just literally go out and run within a tenth of each other, and have such a close knit group that could, if it was Dave and myself and Dan, Jonathan, and then it was sort of Tyler, if Tyler was still here, and James Pierce as well. If those guys were able to, and I appreciate real world stuff gets in the way, but if those guys were able to continue with this, tonight, we would have had 6 or 7 cars that would literally be nose to tail for the whole of that race and be on the edge. We wouldn't letting off. It would be on the edge of racing, and I think it's been fantastic. But the same across the whole, Pro-Am and Am. Just had such a fantastic season. There's been a couple of moments, we're always going to get them, but on the whole, as driving standards goes, it's been one of the most enjoyable seasons that I've had the privilege of putting together. And I've got to say a big thank you to every single one of the drivers that takes part, and obviously you guys that stay up till, especially you, Chaz, that's 12 minutes past 2 in the morning to bring it together. So just a big thank you to everyone. A big thank you to Dean and Matt as well, the other 2 admins that help us put this together. I just feel really good about the way this season's gone. Genuinely feel chuffed with how it's been, and the racing's been fantastic. And I got beat on the final round. Oh well.
Well, we hope for more of the same. Maybe not you getting beat at the final round, but more of the great racing again to come, because it's been a hell of a lot of fun to broadcast it. I can't believe how quickly 10 and even 11 weeks can fly by when you're doing this, but it is quite amazing. Either way, Harry, it's been a pleasure to be a part of it, and it's been great to see you guys racing out there and enjoying yourselves. Is there any final thanks that you want to give before we let you go and wrap this up?
Just the same again. Same, all the drivers, all the admins, yourselves, everyone who makes this happen, everyone who puts it together. It's just been really enjoyable to do. I think we're probably going to take a little bit of time just to put the next season together. We're going to bring some big changes in, so it's going to take a little bit of time just to knit that all. So it'll be a very different looking season, I think, from what this was into the next one. Mm-hmm. So probably going to be a month or two's grace for these guys to get used to what's going on with the cars. I think it was very evident in the EU series, probably more than the US series today, that this new GT3 package that iRacing's put together is a very different thing to what it was before. Yeah. Even the top guys in that European race earlier on today were having serious problems. So give them a bit of time, get used to what they've got, and then we'll regroup and probably go again in the summertime. So other than that, guys, thank you very much as always, and I very much look forward to putting it on again.
Cracking stuff. Nice words, Harry. Thank you very much, mate, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I say, we look forward to seeing you again soon, buddy.
Mate, pleasure. All the best. Speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Well, there we go then, Ed. Another race, another set of interviews, another broadcast, and another season all done with. What a fantastic race to cap off the season, though, here in the Race Anywhere World Series.
Yeah, what a season it was. There's been some action all throughout. From the first round, the drama of Dave Meneno's disconnect to right at the very end, the heart-stopping moment where we thought for a decent period, didn't we, that Delano had lost the championship right at the death. He was able to get back out, secure P7 just enough till the end. Then, of course, another late bit of celebration, of course, for Errol Uriksoy. He managed to get his first overall podium, the first overall podium of a Pro-Am driver this season, I believe, Chaz. So wonderful stuff from Errol. And yeah, I mean, what a race we were treated to today to round out a stunning season.
It has been an absolute beauty of a championship, and it's been great to be able to broadcast it for you all, everybody. Thank you very much for all of you for joining us this season. Thanks to the series admins for having us on, and of course the guys behind the scenes at Absolute Sim Racing for having me and Ed take care of you all and bring you these pictures. Thanks as well to Ed. It's been fantastic to have you join me for these races, mate, and hopefully we can do it all again very soon. That's all for now, though, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we look forward to potentially seeing you again in Season 3. For now, it's Chaz Draycott and Ed May bidding you farewell.